question this evening will be posed to Mr. Schiffer. In Congress and across the nation, a debate is raging about our healthcare system. If elected, would you vote for the healthcare bill currently being considered in Congress? And in addition, what specific proposals would you support to curb the rising cost of healthcare?
Concerning healthcare, in a very simple, short answer, I believe that the Obamacare program is socialized medicine, and I believe it's a takeover, an unconstitutional takeover of over 1/6 of our national economy. And on those terms alone, I'm against the bill. I've read through most of the bill, unlike most of the congressmen and women down there in Washington, D.C., but you don't have to read the entire bill to know that in its essence, number one, it is unconstitutional. Number two, it is grievous in the demands that it puts on the average citizen. Do you know there's a clause or two in the proposal, from its original manifestation to its new form, adopted last week, that makes you a criminal if you refuse to take part in the healthcare system. And I'll tell you this, not only if I were in the United States Congress, not only would I oppose Obamacare or socialized medicine, but I would refuse to abide by it. I would face arrest as opposed to take part in this Obamacare program. And I think that as good American citizens, as American patriots, we need to all be involved in standing up against this unconstitutional usurpation of our rights.
Thank you, Mr. Areas of contention in the health care bill is the provision that would mandate the federal taxpayer funding of abortion. What is your position on this issue? And do you believe there is ever a justifiable reason for the federal government funding of abortion?
It's easy for me to answer this question because for over 25 years, I have been either a leader in the pro-life movement, the local and state level, or an activist, or on talk radio covering this issue. There is no doubt in my mind that this issue is the most serious moral dilemma we've faced since Abraham Lincoln dealt with slavery. I do believe, as a Christian, as a Republican, and as just a human being who has compassion on others, that abortion is our nation's greatest sin or crime since slavery. I obviously disagree with the fact that I'm opposed to the abortion being in the Obamacare bill. And did you know there's something else that Obama slipped through? 2 months ago, he reversed the Mexico City bill that basically prevented Planned Parenthood dollars and tax dollars from going overseas to support abortion. It is called the Global Obamacare Act, and that's been slipped through beneath the radar screen. So I'm against that also.
Thank you. President Obama, in his State of the Union address, called for the repeal of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy currently in effect for the United States Armed Forces. What is your position on gays serving openly in the military?
I'm against changing the policy on gays in the military. I believe it will severely disrupt our mission in the military, and I believe personally, as a person who served in the U.S. Marine Corps from 1977 to 1981, that the mission of the United States military is to defend America, period. No other questions asked. The military should not be allowed to be used as for social experiments that the liberals like to try to foist on us domestically. This is going way too far beyond the scope of the mission of the U.S. military. So I'm opposed to homosexuality being permitted openly in the U.S. military.
President Obama, along with Speaker Pelosi, have called for the repeal of the Federal Defense of Marriage Act, also known as DOMA. That was passed by Congress and signed into law by President Bill Clinton. Do you believe that the federal DOMA should be repealed? Why or why not?
I'm a conservative, and just like being pro-life and against the government involved in everything in our life, look, the Obama administration seems to not get it at all. They're totally every day, every minute of every day, engaged in a policy of disrupting the societal structure of our nation. And we need to wake up and start fighting aggressively against this. I am obviously for defending the sanctity of marriage, and I'm one who is very frustrated at seeing our government engaged in doing things, disrupting life, involved in issues that they have no business being involved in. I defend marriage. I defend the sanctity of marriage, and I think it's high time that all of us put our foot down, drew the line, and said no more liberal social experimenting domestically or in the military. Enough. I've had it. That's why I'm running for Congress. I'm fed up with it.
Thank you. Now for our fifth question. Many people in Stark County have lost their jobs in recent years. The federal unemployment rate currently stands at 10.8%, but here in Stark County, the unemployment rate is 13.5%. Do you think the federal government can play a part in stimulating economic growth and development in job creation? And as a member of Congress, what would you do? Mr. Schiffer.
Okay. I believe that the federal government cannot create jobs, except for government jobs, as witnessed the past year and 2 months from the Obama administration. But what the federal government can do is destroy jobs, is create job loss. And that is exactly what's happened in the past year and 2 months under the Obama administration. Some of the things that have taken place, let me give you some statistics that I've read recently from the Heritage Foundation and a couple other conservative think tanks in Washington, D.C. Did you know that the stimulus package, the $759 billion plus that was supposed to be sent out there this year and next year to create jobs, only 157 million of that, or billion of that, has been passed through any hands yet. I don't know what happened to the other 500, 600 billion. Make a long story short, did you know that 75% of that money has only gone into congressional districts where there's a liberal Democrat that runs that district? Only about 20% or less has gone into Republican, or districts that held by Republican congressmen. What's going on here? This is cronyism. The stimulus package is not about creating jobs. It's about stimulating the Democratic Party and increasing the power of groups like Acorn and other George Soros-run organizations. If the full knowledge of this was made public, there'd be more than a Tea Party out there. I'll tell you that much.
Some are proposing a moratorium on all earmarks in Congress. Do you support the elimination of congressional earmarks? If so, why or why not?
Very simply, I am totally opposed to earmarks, except in the exception that Mr. Renacci pointed out. I do believe the defense of our country is one of the few constitutional duties of the U.S. government, so we better take anything involving defense of foreign policy, keep that intact. With that said, why do I believe that we need to stop this process of earmarks? Very simply, besides it being unconstitutional, is the fact that our budget and trade deficits are continuing to skyrocket. This is how bad it is, folks, and I'm one who does not believe in raising taxes under any circumstances. In fact, I believe in reducing taxes even further dramatically, so there's no excuse to raise taxes. But let's say we were to raise taxes 100% next year. Did you know, even with the 100%, the government taking all of your money and at the same time completely eliminating all of the social programs except for Social Security, that it would still not deal with the budget and trade deficit that's gotten way out of control. So for those reasons, I say no more to earmarks except in the exception of defense earmarks.